where we have some more new Path of the Beast lore. It asks questions such as, what's the ultimate form they can change into? What's the spiritual journey that the candidate undergoes to become the beast? And which beast from the Bible helps them to change along the way? Friends, let's find out. And welcome back to the trenches. Let's begin. The lore covers the zygotic lord. Once a mortal begins to walk the path of the beast, there is no turning back. The first steps are always the easiest, filling the supplicant with exhilaration and bliss. Reaching the end of the path of ruin is another matter. An ecstatic state of adoration allows supplicants to fall into a deep trance and travel into the unseen world where lies the object of their thirst and desire, a way to undo the form God's creation has imposed upon mortals. So this is a reflection of the power of the court of the seven-headed serpent, who derive their own power from profaning symbols of God or causing pain in mortals, and use this to break the flow of God's creation, to impose their own magical will upon it for a short time. To walk the path of the beast is to walk backwards through the invisible labyrinth of creation itself. The road is neither straight nor narrow, and it runs through the great maze, invisible and ever-changing. Each twist and turn changes the petitioner, costing them part of their humanity and their memories, and changing its form into ever more bestial aspects of itself. Exceedingly few ever reach the end of the path. Almost all the adherents are lost in one of the dead ends from where there is no return. Whilst I can't tie the maze concept specifically to the Cabala, according to Alconsenta, a labyrinth is an ancient spiritual tool. It has been known to the human race for 4,000 years. It can be found in nearly every religious tradition, from the Jewish Cabala tree of life to hopping medicine wheels to Christian Jerusalems carved on the floor of European cathedrals, and it operates as a spiritual tool, as it does here. On the path of the beast, others lose their purpose and independent will, forgetting what they once were searching for. Forever lost in a shape between the beast and man, they swell the ranks of the packs that haunt the isolated woods and unforgiving mountains. Throughout the ages, people have called such creatures by many names: skinwalkers, changelings, werewolves, madambeel, and numerous others, in an attempt to define creatures that stand apart from any comprehension. But they are not truly an aspect of the beast. Such privilege is reserved for the chosen few who find their way through the nigh endless, eternally shifting maze. The horned priests teach their followers that at the heart of this labyrinth sleeps Behemoth, first of God's works, a beast that predates the rest of the world. And as confirmed by Scanner Barkley in his lore video, Thomas Pianon, one of the creators of Crusade, has confirmed to Barkley, and thus him to us, that this beast is not the beast in the path, but a beast, albeit a special one. Behemoth in the Cabala is mentioned when God speaks to Job and discusses that man, with their point of view, can never understand God truly. An example of this given to Job is Behemoth, a huge, massively strong animal, which seems from description to be like a hippo. It's an animal only God can control, merely by looking at it. Aish.com tells us this word in Hebrew actually means animal, which works great for the path of the beast. Along with this, God's message is thus that the great power and ferocity of the animal world is something far beyond Job's control, and thus further demonstrates man's limitations in the world's grander scheme. So that all ties very nicely into the path of the beast lore, really supports it well. On the skin of the beast are painted Sephirot, the divine emanations, 22 letters of creation. A lot to say on this one, so I'm going to leave it till the end of the video so we can complete the new lore drop. The combinations of these letters and the divine name form the structure of all things, construction of the world and cosmos. Combining these letters, the supplicant will be able to escape all the shackles God has placed on them, so they can remain a part of his great and powerful plan. Here, at the heart of the labyrinth, the clay of creation can be broken down into its parts, remoulded by the supplicant as the final prize for the adoration of the beast. The triumphant supplicant will rebuild its being according to its own will to represent the aspect of the beast they once decided to follow. It emerges from the labyrinth in the shape of its own choosing, reflecting the inner self as an aspect of the beast, a monstrous thing called the zygotic lord. And I love how they try to frame it there as almost some sort of spiritual journey of enlightenment. You actually turn into a nasty beastie. It returns to Earth as a newborn, embryonic and weak, but will then develop according to its own design rather than according to the divine path. Its growth into an apocalyptic monstrosity, dictated only by its own will and the hatred that the beast holds for all humankind. It then travels into the wild places of the world, haunting the deep valleys of the mountains, and I will be interested to see why the beast hates humanity, apart from the fact that perhaps humanity is different to itself. Perhaps it has some vendetta against God, like we've had for two of the members of the Court of the Seven-Headed Serpent. Anyway, on with the law. Forgotten grottos or impenetrable forests. The hunting packs of the beast and their mortal followers gather in the vicinity of their lairs to worship it, waiting for it to emerge and lead them into revelries of blood and euphoria. The zygotic lord will dwell in its lair for many moons, as it packs, bring offerings and choice morsels to consume. It will grow until no dark forest or mountain cave can hide its awful majesty. It then rises and gathers its adherents around it, and the lesser creatures of the path creep and slither from their hiding places. Though possessed with unnatural speed, strength, and enormous size, it is the voice of the zygotic lord the faithful fear the most. It emits howls of adoration, throwing its followers who hear it into an ecstatic state of frenzy. For those unwilling to accept the path of the beast, it reveals the labyrinth around them all in its awful horror. It takes extraordinary willpower to wrench your mind back into the real world, and most are lost in the labyrinth, dwelling amidst the wonder and glory of the beast forever, even as their bodies lie catatonic in hospices or sanatoriums. So that Cabala law is something we see mentioned also within the law for these scripture guardians, where like a golem it's said, rumours claim they are creations of great masters of Cabala. So to break it down, like DX, on the skin of the beast are painted Sephirot, the divine emanations, 22 letters of creation. The Chabad.org says, everything that happens in the spiritual world takes place through the medium of these Sephirot. There are 10 ways God manifests himself. So they exhibit a certain attribute of God, an aspect of him. My admittedly simple understanding means within Crusade, each could be like a different ability of God. And according to our much quoted text, the Britannica, each Sephirah refers to an aspect of God as creator. The rhythm by which one Sephirah unfolds to another was believed to represent the rhythm of creation. So when we think of the path, you see the letters of creation, which are building blocks of creation, tapping into the power of the Sephirot, and thus God's tools of creation are there. And with these you have the option for all of creation before you to combine them, and you use God's tools, it says, to escape all the shackles God has placed on your form. I take this as the limits of the human form. These letters let you become anything and represent the aspect of the beast that they once decided to follow. Now this all ties in with the ideas of the path in the Cabala, referring to the 22 lines between the 10 Sephirot, i.e. allowing you to tap in and move between them, choosing your own evolutionary path rather than God's. Though if you're using his tools, might that make you part of his plan? Anyway, something to think about. So let me know what you think to this law. I really enjoy it. I have been liking the slow building up of lore around the path of the beast, and I hope we get more stuff for them. Maybe something defining what this maze looks like, how horrifying it is. And also I would like something like this for the Church of Metamorphosis, where layers are slowly built up. Anyway, let me know what you think, as I said, and speculate and comment with me below in the comments. And also, if you like this video of Trench Crusade, then why not try this one? And if you want a load of videos of Trench Crusade, why not check out the playlist on the channel?